that they are the ones involved in cash in transit.
Thank you. Yeah, I hear you on the modus operandi. My issue, and you've responded, so I'm not asking for any further response. My issue just related to the point you were making about the dockets. Yeah. Dockets, okay. The information or lack of it in the dockets. You've already responded, and yeah, I'll leave it there.
And Commissioner, the other aspect is that the dockets are closed almost immediately. Once a person is killed, the docket gets closed, the cash in transit docket, because they link that deceased as a suspect in the docket without any other investigation. Not looking at the firearms that they used, whether those firearms are linked at the cash in transit, or maybe placing their cell phone at the scene of the cash in transit. That docket is immediately closed. So there's no further investigation done on that cash in transit docket that has been opened.
But that's strange. Who closes the docket?
The station. Even the task team themselves. They write the name of the deceased on the docket, and the docket is closed.
I don't understand that. Not if no connection was made in terms of investigations that the person who has been killed was indeed the person who had committed the cash in transit. I just don't follow that.
Well, based on the...
There's a missing link
yes,
in there.
Yeah. Based on the statements of the members of the task team that they went looking for suspects involved in the cash in transit. That case get closed.
Yeah, but I'll leave it at that. We are not inquiring after the extrajudicial killings. Yeah.
Can I just follow up on Mr. Chaskalson's question about statistics? Of the 77 cases that you say relate to task teams, what percentage or number of that relates to cash in transit? Because your statement focuses on cash in transits.
Okay, I can't give you that number. It's actually those 77 is cash in transit, drug-related, and murder case, and cases related to the taxi industry.
Yes, no, that's my understanding. Yes, so my question has IPID not done the statistical analysis of the 77 cases, so much are cash in transit cases? And the next question that I would have asked, that I now assume you may not have an answer to in light of what you're saying, is what percentage of that cash in transit number is the majority of shootings that you say they involve Lieutenant Colonel Governor's task team? Because that's what you say at paragraph 25. You say the majority of shootings relate to his task team. So I wanted to know whether you've got that breakdown of numbers.
I don't have it, Commissioner, but we can supply it.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe while we're on this topic, just to illustrate what you've been saying to the Commission, can we discuss can you go to the Hibberdene case that you talked to at paragraph 21? Because I think this falls into the category that we're just discussing.
Paragraph 44.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner, in this case, members of the Colonel Governor's task team were on duty on Saturday, the 2nd of March, 2024, and at about 1 o'clock, the members proceeded on an operation to arrest an alleged CIT suspect. Information was received from crime intelligence that the suspect was planning CIT robberies in Eastern. That is what Colonel Governor informed the IPID investigators, that the information they received was this suspect was planning to do a cash in transit in Eastern Cape. The suspect went into hiding in...
Sorry, can I just stop you at that point? What degree of information would be required before you were able to arrest someone for planning CIT robberies in the Eastern Cape?
Well, you have to do a proper investigation, like put surveillance on the person, apply for a court order to tap their phones, to listen into the conversations if you have that. You can't just get information that the person is planning to do cash in transit and then go to arrest him. You arresting him on what? There's no crime. He didn't commit any crime. He's only planning to do it. But you still have to show that he's planning to do it. Now, they received information that he was planning to commit cash in transit in Eastern Cape, and they rushed out to his premises.
So at that stage, at that early stage, when you are doing the surveillance, I would imagine you don't open a police case.
You can open an inquiry, Commissioner.
An inquiry?
Yes, a police inquiry.
Oh, okay.
And then you can, with the inquiry, you can apply for a court order. You can apply for a Section 205 with an inquiry. And then you can, from your inquiry, it will indicate whether he's part of a cash in transit group.
And can I ask, in this particular case, are you aware whether there was any inquiry opened, whether there was any docket opened?
Nothing.
Is it not fair to say that that information would have had to have been received in advance of the day of the operation? Because, I don't know if you're saying, if they received information on the 2nd of March itself, and let's say at 12 midnight, are you saying even in those circumstances, they must first open an inquiry number before they go and operationalize? Does it not assume that there is proper advance information or intelligence that this person is at this place, they're planning to do this, and there's time to do surveillance and everything that you're describing and to get a CIN number?
Yes, Commissioner, what I'm indicating is that, firstly, there was no evidence to prove that he was involved in planning cash in transit. So what they supposed to do is that when they receive that information, they're supposed to open an inquiry and then do the investigations from that inquiry, from the information that they received. And when they've done the investigation to prove that this suspect is part of the cash in transit syndicate and they can do proper linkages, then they can go to make an arrest. But what they did is that they received the information and they rushed off to go to arrest the person.
Thank you.
The suspect in question went into hiding in the Hibberdene area due to having received death threats. He subsequently rented a holiday cottage with his girlfriend. The members alleged that they received information that the suspect was in possession of at least one firearm and was instrumental in securing explosives illegally for CIT ICE from Limpopo and Gauteng. The members from the task team then proceeded to the said holiday cottage and knocked on the door and allegedly identified themselves as police officers. The suspect opened the door, after which the members proceeded inside the premises and searched the lounge and found nothing suspicious. Now here the police knocked on the door, the suspect opened. If the suspect had anything to hide, he would have not opened the door. He would have shot at the police at the same time. The keys of the suspect's vehicle was found on the table. Some task team members took the suspect's girlfriend outside to the suspect's vehicle to search. Now they should have taken the suspect outside, not the girlfriend, because the vehicle belonged to the suspect. 2 members were left to guard the suspect, and they were armed with R5 rifles and pistols. It is alleged that the suspect wanted to change, and the members accompanied him into the bedroom. The members allege that the suspect grabbed one of the SAPS members' R5 while at the same time pulling his firearm from under a pillow. The member alleged that he and the suspect lost balance. When the suspect got up, he fired his pistol in the direction of the member, missing him and his colleague. The member fired 4 rounds at the suspect, fatally wounding the suspect. The deceased sustained 4 gunshot wounds. Now, in this matter, Chair, Commissioner, you got 2 policemen who have R5 firearms pointed at you. Now, the suspect opened the door for these policemen to come in. So what is the reason for him now to try to disarm the policeman of the firearm? Even if he shot both those policemen, there were still 10 policemen outside. So he would not have achieved anything. When we did this investigation, we identified that he was the owner of a taxi industry. He's the owner in the taxi industry. The IPID investigators requested for police case numbers in which the deceased was sought for. However, the commander of the task team failed to provide any case numbers to validate the claim that the deceased was in fact sought by the police for any offences, let alone CIT offences. According to the first police officer responding to the scene, the deceased was the one who opened the door when the police requested entry to the lodge. Members on the task team had not found any illegal firearms, explosive or any items to indicate that the deceased was in fact involved in CIT robbers. The girlfriend of the deceased is currently in hiding as it is alleged that she was threatened by the members of the task team. The position of the deceased on the scene of crime contradicts the version of the members of the task team in relation to his attempt to draw a firearm from underneath a pillow, as he was found at the base of the bed while the pillow was at the head of the bed. The only outstanding investigation in this matter is a statement of the suspect's girlfriend who is being sought. There is a clear indication that the version of the task team members are fabricated to cover up an unjustified shooting. As soon as a statement has been obtained from the suspect's girlfriend, the docket will be forwarded to the senior public prosecutor for a decision. IPID has yet to be presented with any evidence suggesting that the suspect was involved in CIT crimes, nor has the task team offered any explanation as to how it was informed that the suspect was in Hibberdene. It seems that the task team merely used cash in transit to cover the action of killing a taxi owner. Their inability to explain how they were informed of the whereabouts of the suspect raises suspicion as to whether rival taxi owners may have been involved in tipping them off.
How do you make that jump to the suspicion about rival taxi owners? Is that the most plausible inference under the circumstances? If so, why?
Chair, the deceased went into hiding after he received threats from rival taxi owners. And where he went to, nobody knew, not even his family knew where he went to. And here the police is saying, or the task team is saying that he was involved in cash in transit or planning cash in transit, when they cannot find or provide any evidence to that effect. No case numbers. He was found in that resort or in that holiday accommodation with his private firearm, licensed private firearm. There was no illegal items found even in his vehicle when they searched his vehicle. So our belief is that because he went into hiding, because of the taxi industry, that there is a possibility that the taxi owners would have probably identified where you went to. The second aspect is that we've identified that the police are using the police grabber, cell phone grabber, and are coming to a conclusion where possible cash-in transit suspects are, especially crime intelligence. They are utilizing police grabber. So they are tracing cell phones. So if this taxi owner went into hiding, nobody would have known where he is. Not even his family knew he was there.
Or unless I missed it, you were mentioning the fact that the death threats were made by rival taxi owners. You are mentioning that for the first time in response to my question. In paragraph 45, where you mentioned death threats, you say the suspect went into hiding in Hibberdene, in the Hibberdene area, due to having received death threats.
Yeah, from taxi.
Yeah, there you don't say from whom.
I apologize, Chair. From taxi rivals.
But as I say, I don't know whether between 45 and the end of this topic you do mention the rival taxi owners. I don't know. But in 45, that's where you mentioned the threats.
In my initial statement, Chair, I indicated that the deceased was a well-known taxi owner. I do apologize for not putting it under there. He received death threats from taxi owners in the area.
So that's the threats by rival taxi owners is the basis for your suspicion.
That's correct, Chair.
You connecting without saying so, and maybe if that's what you want to say in detail, you should speak to it. On the face of it, you are creating a connection between rival taxi owners that you say had threatened this person. You're creating a connection between those and the task team. Effectively what you're saying is the task team, in this case, according to IPID, appears to have been doing work or did the killing on behalf of the rival taxi people that threatened and caused this man to go into hiding. Is that what you're saying? And is it based on any investigation, facts, if you like, of that IPID has carried out? Because it's one thing to say this is what we suspect, and you have no control over how it gets understood to mean you have created that connection as a matter of fact. And if that's what you're doing, saying you've created a connection as a matter of fact, I think you should say so. Otherwise, if it is a theory and nothing more, I think that should come out clearly.
Okay. Commissioner, I have another case here that I will discuss where you would see that connection.
That's fine. We're still at the Hibberdene one. Is there such a connection that IPID has? Because your statement doesn't do that. It requires one to read between the lines that this is what you are suggesting. In the Hibberdene case, have you made that kind of connection as IPID?
The only reason that I make that connection is that the task team did not have any information pertaining to cash in transit. There was no allegation, and they have not produced any information pertaining to cash in transit. However, we know that the deceased was involved in the taxi industry. And that is why we make that connection, is that because the same task team is involved in shooting other taxi owners.
So insofar as it relates to the Hibberdene matter, you're saying that is the theory
That's correct.
of IPID.
That's correct.
And you say the basis for that theory is because you have other cases where you will show that this task team has in fact done the bidding of a rival taxi group against another.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're referring to another case in relation to the taxi industry. Is that the Pinetown case?
Pinetown case.
And that you address at page 17 of your statement. Maybe you can, can you take the commission through the Pinetown?
From paragraph 28, it is alleged that on the 30th of May, at about 10:30, members from a task team under the command of Captain Pedro Rodriguez shot at a vehicle, a Toyota Fortuner, to kill the driver. It is alleged that 10 members who were part of the operation stopped the vehicle on the M13, highway eastbound to Westville. 14 rounds were shot from the rifle at the said vehicle. Fortunately for the driver of the vehicle was an armor-proof vehicle. During the incident, the driver telephonically contacted the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkonazi, who informed him to drive off to the Pavilion shopping mall situated in Westville. The driver adhered to the instruction of the Provincial Commissioner, and he drove to the Pavilion shopping center, where he met senior officers from Westville SAPS. The 10 members on the task team followed the driver. However, when they reached the Pavilion shopping center, they were greeted by the Pavilion security and senior police officers from Westville SAPS. Investigations have thus far revealed that there was a shooting of a taxi chairperson by the name of Reginald Boy Dladla in Hillcrest, and there was evidence that 2 suspects were identified for the murder. Captain Rodriguez was tasked with apprehending the suspects. The first suspect was allegedly killed when Colonel Kalashwayo's team tried to arrest him. This murder case is investigated by IPID under Hillcrest Case 121/05/2024. The circumstances are
Sorry, before you get to the circumstances, can you please look at paragraph 33, the case number there? Is it the same one? There, it's all the numbers except for the 05 and the 03 are the same. I'm just checking if perhaps you've not, if it's the same case, I'm checking if you've not made a mistake.
Chair,
on the 05 or the 03, or are they different cases?
Thank you, Chair. It's a typographical error. It's 05.
05.
05.
So at 33 we must change it to 05.
05.
Okay, thank you. Please continue then. The circumstances are as follows.
The circumstances are as follows. The suspect was initially arrested while he was preparing to depart for Gauteng. That is the first suspect that was identified by Colonel Kalashwayo. So they arrested him at the KZN airport on a murder case, which was Pinetown Case 457/08/2022, in which a taxi boss was killed. That taxi boss, I've indicated his name, Reginald Boy in Gladla. It is alleged that the police questioned the suspect about the firearm that was used in the Pinetown murder, and he then took them to his friend's residence in Hillcrest.
And what do you mean? Which airport is this? You said KZN airport.
Yes. That's the King Shaka Airport, Chair. Commissioner, King Shaka Airport.
All right, thank you.
It is alleged that the police questioned the suspect about the firearm that was used in the Pinetown murder, and he took them to his friend's residence in Hillcrest. Whilst at the said premises, the suspect requested to use a toilet. At the relevant time, he was allegedly accompanied by 2 police officers. The police alleged that the suspect reached for a firearm that was hidden underneath the sink in the toilet. One police officer then wrestled the suspect for the firearm, during which a round went off, at which point the second police officer shot the deceased. It is alleged that the deceased in Hillcrest Cas 121/05/2024, who was a well-known established businessman in the taxi industry, had borrowed the Toyota Fortuner from Mr. Ngobo. The complainant in Pinetown Cas 678/5/2025.
Sorry, the case numbers can get confusing. So the complainant in Pinetown Cas 678 is the complainant that was shot at by the task team under the control of Captain Rodriguez.
That's correct. That's correct.
Sorry, I've picked up something similar about the case numbers. Here you have 678, that is here 33. 35, you have 673. And again, the rest is the same. Are these different cases, or again, is it one case with a typo?
No, it's one case, Chair.
So which one do we change?
Chair, it's 678. The heading.
The correct one is 678. So at 33, then we change the 673 to 678.
678, that's correct. My apologies for that, Chair.
No problem.
Another observation, in the heading, you have 678/05/2024, and then at 33, you have 678/05/2025. Is that a typo? It should be 2024.
2024.
Please continue.
Okay. So the first suspect for the murder of the taxi chairperson was shot when he was picked up from the airport and taken to his friend's house, where the police alleged that he tried to take a firearm that was hidden under the sink. The second suspect in that matter borrowed the Toyota Fortuner of the complainant in Pinetown 678/5/2024. The suspect was using the Toyota Fortuner, and Captain Rodriguez obtained information, and he seen the suspect driving the Toyota Fortuner. And he allegedly tried on numerous occasions to apprehend the second suspect, who was said to have been driving the Toyota Fortuner, to no avail. In the meantime, the vehicle was returned to Mr. Ngobo. So the second suspect was not using that vehicle anymore. And Captain Rodriguez was now focusing on the Toyota Fortuner. So he requested an employee at the estate where the victim resided to inform him when the vehicle was driving out of the said estate. On the 30th of May 2024, Mr. Ngobo left his estate in his Fortuner vehicle, and Captain Rodriguez was informed that the Fortuner was leaving the estate. He and his team followed the vehicle, cornered it, and brought it to an halt alongside the M13. Mr. Ngobo noticed that one vehicle had 4 occupants who were wearing balaclavas. When the Fortuner stopped on the left-hand side of the road, Mr. Ngobo saw another 3 vehicles behind him. Mr. Ngobo immediately contacted the SAPS Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkunazi. Whilst he was on the call, the police started to open fire on his vehicle. He was advised by the Provincial Commissioner to drive to Pavilion Shopping Centre. At the shopping centre, some senior SAPS officer came and questioned Mr. Ngobo while his vehicle was inspected and photographed by members of LCRC. Due to the extensive damage to his vehicle, it was towed to Pinetown Police Station. Mr. Ngobo's private firearm was also seized by the duty officer. Whilst the members from the LCRC were busy processing the secondary scene, the members from Captain Rodriguez's task team arrived at the Pavilion Shopping Centre, and they were summoned to Provincial Commissioner's office by Major General Gobosi. The members from the task team left the scene at Pavilion Shopping Centre without being duly processed as the members implicated in discharging of official firearm in an attempted murder case. They did not provide any explanation or justification for the shooting, nor did they provide firearm numbers or the number of rounds fired at the vehicle to the duty officer in their attendance at the secondary crime scene. Primary residue test samples could not be uplifted as the officers had left the scene prior to LCRC obtaining the samples as is procedurally required. This all took place under the instructions received from Major General Ngobosi. During IPED's investigation, it was established that Captain Rodriguez and another member's vehicle had false registration plates affixed to the SAPS vehicle that were used for the said operation. The SAPS vehicle used with unmarked vehicles used were unmarked vehicles with no official SAPS insignia or markings to show that they were official SAPS vehicles. IPED KZN proceeded with the investigation, and after discussion with the control prosecutor, arrested 9 of the 10 members of the task team, and they appeared in Pinetown Court on the 11th of July 2024, and Captain Rodriguez was subsequently arrested on the 31st of July 2024 and appeared in Pinetown Court. IPED made recommendations to the SAPS that disciplinary steps may be instituted against all 10 members. The disciplinary hearing has commenced. The criminal matter has since been postponed from the Pinetown Court to Durban Regional Court to the 20th of August 2026.
Can I just clarify one issue? False registration plates. Has any explanation been given for false registration plates?
Well, the members, when they were charged, they elected to remain silent. They could not provide an explanation regarding the false number plates. But we've identified that the reason the false number plates are used so they cannot be identified when shootings take place, or if they have to leave crime scenes prior to anyone coming to the crime scene. They are not identifiable.
But presumably the members involved in these shootings always, I mean, you are able to identify 3 task teams led by Captain Rodriguez. Is it Captain Govender?
He is now promoted to Lieutenant Colonel Govender.
And Colonel Kalitshwayo.
Kalitshwayo, yes.
So I still don't see the point of false number plates. I mean, in that context, you know who the task team leaders are. What is false number plates going to do?
Well, there was no explanation provided for the false number plates, but one would believe in order to not to be recognized, because they don't use police uniform in most of the cases, these task teams don't use police uniforms. And if there is anything that happened contrary to the prescripts of the Criminal Procedure Act, then they can easily leave the scene without being identified.
Chair, we've run past 11. I'm not sure if this is a convenient time to break.
Yeah, just one quick question. I just want to understand your narration of this incident, the Pinetown incident. Are you doing so with a view to advancing the idea that the task teams, or some of them, are infiltrated by criminal gangs? If so, how?
Chair, I would believe that they are being used by other taxi rival gangs. Because in this case here, the chairperson of the taxi in the Pinetown area was killed. And the police went all out looking for the other two. And when they found the first one, they found him at the airport. And he willingly took them to his friend's house. On that investigation where he was shot, the version of the police doesn't make sense. Because if you look at the bathroom where he was shot, there is nothing where you can put a firearm, either firearm under the zinc. There's no built-in cupboards there that you can put a firearm under the zinc. So the version is totally contradictory to the crime scene. And then they went all out for the second suspect. And when they went for the second suspect, you could see that they deliberately wanted to kill him, not realizing that the vehicle was a armor-plated vehicle. So that is why I believe that they were ordered by someone to take out those two these two suspects for murdering the chairperson of the taxi industry.
Thank you. Let's resume at 22.